Mark Thompson was in his early 50s. He lived alone in a modest apartment in an old neighborhood of Boston. His family was back in the countryside. The streets around were narrow and winding, and sometimes, even during the day, an eerie silence would settle over them. From his apartment windows, Mark could see the street clearly, but at night it seemed deserted and unsettling. Everything was normal, until one night at 11 o'clock, the apartment doorbell rang suddenly. Mark got up and opened the door, but no one was there. At first, he thought it must be some pranksters, but the next night, it happened again. And then, every night after that, gradually, Mark started feeling genuinely uneasy. During the day, the street was empty, but at night, the bell would ring and no one would be outside. Sometimes he peeked through the window, but the empty street and cold wind only heightened his fear. A few weeks later, Mark decided that this was no longer a joke or coincidence. He installed a CCTV camera covering both his front door and the street. That night, at 11, the bell rang again. Mark sat in front of the computer, hands trembling. On the screen, the doorbell rang, but the street remained empty. Only faint footsteps were captured on the camera, as if someone was walking through the air. Mark was drenched in sweat. The next day, he replayed the footage again and again. Every night, the same thing happened. The bell rang, the footsteps sounded, but no child appeared. Eventually, Mark confided in a few friends. They laughed it off. "Come on, Mark. Maybe you're just tired, or maybe it's some kids playing a prank." But Mark was adamant. "No, this isn't a child. I see it myself. There's no one on the screen, yet the footsteps, the bell, it's real." Determined, he decided to stand by the door himself the next night. At 11, the bell rang. Slowly, he opened the door, and the street was completely empty. The air was cold, leaves rustled softly, but no child was there. Mark felt a strange sensation. Someone was staring at him, yet no eyes were visible. Then he realized that each ring of the bell was meant to invoke fear. No one actually came, yet the fear was real. Every night he faced an unseen, unknown presence. Mark now keeps a small lantern burning by the door. Every night at 11, the bell rings, and he opens the door slowly. No one is there, but the fear feels fresh each time. Neighbors say, "It's not a child. It senses your fear." And sometimes, fear is more dangerous than reality itself. Mark is no longer completely alone. Every night, he hears the faint footsteps on the street, feels the chime of the bell, and never forgets to open the door. Sometimes he even wonders, will the child ever appear, or is the fear itself the only visitor?